Hey, welcome to Mirrorverse Education. Today, we're looking at single-step equations when you're multiplying and dividing. All right, let's get into it. So at your job, you make $15 per hour, and the rent for your apartment is $800 per month. Write an equation and determine how many hours you're gonna need to work just to pay rent. All right, you might be able to figure this out without using an equation. However, right now, we're learning the basics of writing equations, meaning how do you know when to multiply, how do you know when to divide, how do you know when to add, and how do you know when to subtract? Because down the road, you're going to start combining these and it gets more complex, all right? So right now, we're just learning the basics, okay? All right, so with this, it says that we need to write an equation and then we need to solve the equation. All right, and when we're writing equations, that means we are working with variables. So in this one here, I'm gonna use H for the number of hours worked. I could have used W for work, or N for number, or D for dollars. I don't know why I use D, but you can use any variable you want. They all should represent the same thing, which is the amount of hours that you need to work. Okay? Any letter works, but they all represent that same thing. Okay? We know that you're making $15 per hour, and we know that your apartment is $800 per month. Okay? So, when I'm writing this equation, I know that it says that I make $15 per hour. So that lets me know that I'm multiplying 15 times H. And again, when you have a number next to a variable, that just means multiplication. Okay? You don't have to write that there when you have a number next to a variable. 15H is 15 times H. And on the opposite side of the equation, so on the right side of this equation, I have 800, which is the total there. All right. So I've written the equation, but now I need to solve it. So in order to solve an equation, you're trying to get the variable by itself. Okay. That means I need to get that 15 and take it away from there. All right. So how we do that is by doing the inverse operation or the opposite operation. This is times 15. So opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 15. And again, I need to do this to both sides, all right? Because I have to make sure this is balanced. This equation has to stay balanced. If I do it to one side, it gets off balance. I have to do the same thing to both sides of that equal sign. Okay? 15 divided by 15 is 1. 1 times H is H. Those 15s are gone. All right. And then 800 divided by 15 is 53.33333 forever. All right. And if you want to just cut this off somewhere, we got to round it. All right. Usually we use the second or third place value. I'm going to use the second, that 100th place value. I'm going to round it there. All right. And 3 just keeps the same number, so 53.33 hours. Also, you may recognize this decimal, and if you don't, at some point you're going to, because repeated 3's forever is 1/3, and it comes up quite a bit. All right. So we solved this equation, and what we figured out is that the amount of hours that you're going to need to work in order to pay rent is 53 1/3 hours if you earn $15 per hour. And again, there's no taxes being considered in all this, so if we did that, that makes it a little more complex and more something you might do in 7th grade or 8th grade or beyond, okay? So it kind of heads up on that. Actually, now think about it, 7th grade. All right. By the way, if you're looking for addition subtraction, then you might want to go check out our video on single-step equations, addition and subtraction, all right? All right, let's get on to division. We got 5 friends that want to go on vacation together because it's more fun when you're with people that you like hanging out with. All right, each person is willing to contribute $80 for rent. Use an equation to determine how much money the group can spend on rent for their vacation. All right. So again, we're trying to write an equation and then solve it. And again, working with the equation, that means we need a variable. And this time I'm going to use R for the total money spent on rent. I can use M for money, D for dollars, S for spent, T for total, X, Y, Z. It really doesn't matter, okay? They all represent the same thing, which is the total money spent on rent, okay? So we also know there's 5 people, and we know that each person is going to spend $80. Okay? So for our equation here, we're trying to figure out what number do you divide by 5? Which number do you split into 5 parts evenly to get 80? And that's what this is saying. Because we're taking some value that we don't know, and we're splitting it into 5 parts. So the 5 equal parts. And that's how I'm dividing by 5. Okay? And again, if I'm solving an equation, I'm trying to get that variable by itself. And this r, in this case, by itself. All right? And that means I need to get rid of that divided by 5. That needs to go away. So I need to do the inverse or opposite operation. So opposite of divide is to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Because again, whenever I do the one side equal sign, I got to do that same thing to the other side. All right? Those 5 divided by 5 is 1. Those 5s go away. R is by itself now. And 80 times 5 is 400. All right? So what we just figured out is this group of 5 friends can spend $400 on rent for their vacation. All right? So, if you want to watch a video on just how to solve an equation, then go watch our video on solving single-step equations, okay? I know this video we focus not just on solving, but also on writing those equations, okay? So, if you want to see more examples like this, or see what we're up to at Mirrorverse Education, visit us at mirrorverseed.com. All right? Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Adios.